Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another live stream. Cliff Ravenscraft here, and I am going to be sharing with you today some maybe contrarian views, some unpopular wisdom, a different way of thinking about success in business and in life. The reality is I just wanted to do a live stream this afternoon. I did not prepare to announce this in advance. I finished doing some stuff earlier this afternoon, and I'm like, what do I want to do with the rest of my afternoon? I know I want to do a live stream. What topic should I choose? Well, a couple of weeks ago, I was really into this phase of creating short form video content for TikTok, Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels, Twitter. I was posting it on LinkedIn and even on YouTube. What do they call that? Shorts. So I was doing this consistently every single day, showing up with these 60-second or less videos, and I was using content that I'd already pre-created. And then I'm like, well, eventually, what if I run out of content? I thought I know what would make a fun series is a series on unpopular opinions. Now, I don't know if you guys have benefited from the use of ChatGPT, but it's an incredibly powerful tool. It's the best $20.20 every month that I invest as far as software on return on investment for what it actually provides. I went into ChatGPT and I told it, I said, I'd love to create a series of content titled Unpopular Opinions. And in fact, I told it that I wanted to use my approach to business success, which I talk a lot on the mindset side of things. And also, I wanted to speak to the common issues that people in business face and talk about them from a perspective that's not usually talked about, and in a way very much that's heavily influenced by, let's just say, a Buddhist philosophy of life, something that's a little bit more in that realm. And it came back with some pretty incredible options for me to consider. And today what I wanted to do is I want to take what I had created is some formatted slides. I think there's only about 6 or 8 of these, and share with you what came out of ChatGPT. And then, by the way, I've only selected the ones where I'm like, yeah, this one really resonates with me. Now, I've only seen each of these slides once before this live stream, and that was when I was creating them about 45 minutes ago. But one of the things that I love to do is extemporaneous speaking. I love to speak right off the cuff, share with you my unscripted, unedited thoughts. And I want to also encourage you, if you have any comments as you're watching this, if you have any questions you'd like to ask me in the live stream here today, feel free to post those on Facebook, YouTube, or LinkedIn. I think those are the 3 places where you can post me a comment and I can bring it right up here on screen. All right, let's jump straight in. The first unpopular opinion: success isn't always about hustle. While the world tells us to hustle and grind, true success can be found in embracing stillness and balance. Just like a bamboo tree, which bends and sways in the wind without breaking, we must learn to adapt and find harmony between work and personal life. So the next time you're tempted to hustle, remember that there is strength in stillness. All right, let's just leave that up there for just a moment, and let me share with you some of my thoughts as I go through this one here. First of all, I have had seasons of my life where I fully embraced the hustle. The longest season of my life and in my business was my very first year in owning my own self-employed online business in 2008. And many of you have heard this story many times. I won't rehash the whole thing here, but needless to say, I worked around the clock and only made $11,000 net personal income. The business was profitable. The business paid for all of its stuff, and it was profitable in the first year. But let's just say the number of hours that I put in was insane, and I ended up in the hospital as the result of that. Exactly 1 year after I started my business, I was in the hospital for two weeks where I almost died. So my hustle did not produce great results. And in fact, if I would have known about this right here, I guess I should point over here. For me, it's over here. I'm looking at it to where I can see it. But for this right here, if I would have known about this in 2008, I'm absolutely convinced I would have actually been far more profitable. I would have worked far less hours, and I would not have landed in the hospital and almost died. So, what is it about it? Let me pull up the screen here, pull it up again so I can see it. While the world tells us to hustle and grind, true success can be found in embracing stillness and balance. Let's go to the idea of stillness and balance. This is a practice that I am very much involved in today. It's called meditation. It is stilling the mind and also gaining some level of control over my emotional state, my emotional response. And most of my uh, reactive, anxiety driven, fear driven, worry, lack of confidence, lack of motivation, all that stuff, all of those emotional states came as a result of consistently focusing on everything that's going on externally, outside of what's going on inside. In fact, I wasn't aware of the fact that there's anything going on inside. I feel like everything in my life is just what this world that I live in. And so I was always on the lookout for all of the things that I wanted. I had in my mind what I wanted to see, and then there was what I was actually seeing. There was a discrepancy there. And as a result of this constant focus and asking questions, and of course, for me, having lots of thoughts being churned up from a internal belief system that I wasn't even aware of, most of these things that I believed, it was causing me to think incessantly in circles and cycles, leading me to even greater anxiety, greater fear, greater worry, greater stress, which then fueled my feelings that I need to work harder and do more so that I could actually get beyond these limiting circumstances in my life. However, if I only knew then that I could go inside, that I could sit down and quiet my thoughts and begin to experience that peace within. And if I only knew then that there was this thing called a natural state of well-being. This isn't something that nobody taught me that when I came into this world, my natural state is well-being. Nobody taught me that when I grew up. And I've since discovered it and have tested it and found it to be true as experience. I don't have a belief that my natural state is well-being. My own personal experience is that well-being, peace, love, joy is my natural state. And the only time that I don't experience that, it means that I'm actually focused on something externally. I'm rehashing something that's happened in the past, or I'm looking at something that's currently happening now, or I'm thinking about some future situation that could happen that's not in alignment with what I think how things should be. And it all has to do with all of this thinking, and all of this thinking, all of these thoughts are coming from what I have been taught. This is good, this is bad, this is worthy, this is unworthy, this is what you should do, these are the things you should avoid, this is what success looks like, and this is how you could end up a failure, and these are the things you should be working towards to feel good about yourself, and if you've done this, you should feel bad. It's only in stillness that eventually I broke free from a lot of that conditioned way of seeing the world. And I began to discover there's a whole lot more about me than what I've been led to believe. I found by stilling my mind and finding my true identity within and not in what the world thinks I am. You may be following me and you may think of me as Cliff Ravenscraft. He's the husband, the father, the business owner. He's the guy who has done all of these things. He's got all of these achievements, or he's went through these failures but still overcame. And you may see me as this guy that was born in 1973, has been walking this planet for just over 50 years now, and that's who you think I am. And that very much is a very real part of me. But that's just it. It's just a part of who I am. It is my persona, it is my personality. It has been gathering and developing over all of these years, but I am not my personality. I am not my belief system. I am not my body, and I am not my mind. These are things that I've discovered in stillness. I'm reminded of a scripture that says, He leads me beside still waters. My wife bought me a gift a couple of years ago, and it's this company where you can go and order a keychain, a necklace, a piece of jewelry or whatever. And the people there, if you want, there's special custom stuff that you can buy. And they said, we will pray, and if we feel led and or inspired, we will come up with a unique message that we, in our heart, feels appropriate for this person you're buying the gift for. Now, the only thing they ask is, like, what's the name of the person? They don't ask anything else. So there's no details given. And I love this keychain right here for my key fob. It's a little coin on here, or a little disc, and inside of it, it just says, He leads me beside still waters. And what's amazing is this gift came to me prior to this new season of life where I began to really go inside. I had always heard, the scripture where, for example, Jesus says, hey, if any of you are burdened and overwhelmed and heavily burdened, come to me and I will give you rest for your soul. Take my yoke upon you. And you will, but you'll find that my yoke is easy. My burden is light. I will give you rest. I will give you peace. I will bring you beside still waters. And for me, still waters is a metaphor for the brainwave activity, the waves in my brain of activity. And the more thinking and processing, the more the rushing waters are. But here, there's the ability to go inside and say, peace, be still, and have all of that start to calm down. And then all of a sudden, it's like, wow, I don't feel that stress anymore. It's kind of all gone away. Now, that doesn't mean the outside circumstances have changed, but my perception coming out of them are different. My perception is different. So, going back to this quote, now, when it comes down here, just like a bamboo tree, which bends and sways in the wind without breaking, we must learn to adapt and find harmony between work and personal life. Now, I love this because when I began going even deeper into my spiritual journey, there are some people that go all in on the spiritual side and they leave the material world behind. And that certainly is an option. It's certainly one that I even considered. It's like, listen, why don't I just pack up and head to the Himalaya mountains and sit in a cave and meditate all day? And there's a part of me, got to be totally honest with you, that just sounds appealing. But at the same time, I believe that there is certain seasons of our life where it just makes sense to be fully engaged in the world, but also not to be of the world. To be fully integrated with what you're doing, but not lose the awareness of who you truly are. It's okay for me, like, for example, to show up here as Cliff Ravenscraft. It's okay for me to have some beliefs. It's okay for me to have some opinions. It's okay for me to come here and be a persona, to express a personality. But that's me being in this world. It's me doing business. It's me interacting, engaging, which is very much what I came here to do. It's what I enjoy doing. However, the idea is getting in the world. If I get attached to it and all of this stuff, I can become a part of it and be tossed about and broken and battered and burned out and all this other stuff. But if I remain connected to my source, the foundation of who I am, just like the bamboo gets knocked and blown around, but it's sturdy and it stays grounded in its foundation. It's able to withstand all of that. That's what this means to me. So, just like a bamboo tree which bends and sways in the wind without breaking, we must adapt and find harmony between this work and personal life and also who we are at our core. So, the next time you are tempted to hustle, remember that there is strength in stillness. And I'm always reminded every time I pull out my little key fob, he leads me beside still waters. Still waters is exactly what I want to experience every day of my life. That is the first thing. Hustle culture, not my thing anymore. I'm not saying there won't be times where I don't work hard, but actually, I do actually mean that there won't be times when I work hard. There will be times where from outside appearance, it looks like, man, how do you do so much? All these things, you're putting in so many hours. But my question would be, is that actually hustling? Is that actually hard work? Instead, it would be more of flow state. That might actually, we may have actually get into one of these. Um, the next unpopular opinion, the real reason your goals are not working out. All right, let's see what this one says. When we become attached to the outcome, we lose sight of the present moment and the joy that comes from the journey itself. Instead of focusing solely on the goal, try embracing the process, letting go of expectations, and allowing yourself to be fully present in each step. It's not always about the destination, but it's about the journey that takes us there. Okay, so if we think about this one here, let me go back. I just want to see this. When we're attached to the outcome, we lose sight of the present moment and the joy that comes from the journey itself. The joy is in the journey. If you know what the present moment is, and if you can increasingly and more consistently remain aware of the present moment. Now, the reality is there's nothing else that exists except for the present moment. Everything else is memory or imagination. But when you are remembering things, you're doing it in the present moment. And when you are imagining things, you're doing that also in the present moment. But your awareness is not in the present moment. Instead, your awareness is in the past or your memory of what happened, which, by the way, most of the times is not accurate. You had a perspective and a perception of what was going on in the past, and that's what you logged. However, just like in a car accident, there you could have a couple of different people see things from different angles, and there's multiple different ways that one could perceive what happened, what actually took place. And there's other meanings that you could associate to it. But in the past, whenever that thing happened in your life, when you experienced that, based upon what your beliefs were, your emotional state at the moment, and a lot of other circumstances that are beyond comprehension, all of these things caused you to associate a specific meaning to what you perceived in that time space. And that is what you are saying is a fact. When, in fact, it's possible for you to completely rewrite your history. I've done this a number of times with some traumatic events from my childhood. There's this practice called inner child healing. You could look into that if you were interested. Trauma healing. There's a lot of different practices that talk about how to reevaluate things from a whole new perspective of the broader experience of what you have at this point later in your life. In fact, I can give you an example of this that probably will resonate with you, and it's this idea that you may have an experience in your past where when something occurred, you're like, I can't believe this is happening to me. This is so terrible. Man, I'm really hurt. I feel so violated. I can't believe that somebody did this to me. This is just terrible. And you imagine all these bad things as a result of it. Eventually, over time, you got over it. And then, have you ever had a situation where, let's just fast forward a couple of months, a couple of years, a couple of decades maybe, and your life is in such a different place, in such a better place, an exponentially better place, and then you realize that, wow, I would have never been able to experience this had I not gone through that. And I just have had a number of these experiences in my life where, gosh, at the time I'm like, I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. But if you were to ask me today, would I go back and change that? And so if I had the opportunity to avoid having that experience, would I do it? Absolutely not. No, because I love where I am today, and I can't see myself making the decisions that I took, that I made to get me to this, to go do this, that led to this, that led to that, that led to this. I would have never come to that decision had I lived in my comfort zone and not had this thing happen that at the time I thought was so bad. All right. Let's see here. I'm going to see if I can't read this unless I bring it up. So we're going to see what this comment is. John Walker says, suggest that it's also about who we become by growing through the process. So thank you, John. Yes, it is about who we become by going through the process. And that really is the part of the journey. This is why it's not about reaching goals as being the success. In fact, let me give you an experience with a handful of clients. And one person comes to mind right now. This client of mine, she has been working on a project, if I had to guess, 4 or 5 years. It's been the number one thing. She's like, listen, I just want to be able to say that I have completed this project. And by completing this project, I now could carry the title of this. I can go tell people I am a fill in the blank. And she's been working towards this like for years of her life. And so much of that journey along the way was seen as, I wish I could just get beyond this. I wish I could just get beyond. I wish I could just this. I wish I this. And there's a lot of, and I've learned about this. It's like, how much of my life have I wished away? I just wish I've got this thing coming up in 9 months. I just wish it was already here. But as I'm into my, now 50 years old, I got to tell you, I'm not wishing a lot away. Now, I'm not so attached to this world that I'm like, oh, I'm afraid to die or anything of that nature. But you know what? There's been a lot of my life, a good high percentage of my life, where I was spent focused on the past and only like, let me get to the future. Let me get to this goal. Let me get to this goal. Only to consistently hit and achieve goal after goal after goal, only to feel, here's the key, empty inside afterwards. Don't get me wrong, I celebrated the achievement for a relatively short period of time, whether it be a couple of hours, a couple of days, a couple of weeks, maybe even a couple of months. I felt really good about achieving whatever goal it was. But ultimately, once the goal was achieved, I'm like, now what? And not that there's anything wrong with that, just choose a new goal. But also, what if we don't tie our happiness to the goal? I love what John is saying here. John, I appreciate your comment, and I want to invite anyone who's watching, feel free to add your comments and or any questions you have. I'm just here just to speak and to simply entertain, educate, encourage, and inspire anybody who wants to tune into my live stream today. Let me go in here at the middle of this. Instead of choosing focus, okay, so becoming attached. The only thing I want to add in here is being fully present, seeing that, hey, today may not be like this major piece of the puzzle that moves the needle forward. In fact, you may end up having a week or two where you are taking what you think are going to be steps to help you get closer to that end result, that goal. And you may take lots of steps only to feel like you've moved or slid backwards a little bit. And if that's the way, if the focus and the attachment is so much of getting and reaching the destination, you could actually lose sight of the joy and the gift of what you could learn and how you could experience all of the amazing infinite number of things that are going right for you in every moment of your life. You could lose sight of all of the awesomeness just because currently you're focused on the fact that it seems like I'm actually a couple steps further away from my goal because of these results of these of the actions that I took that I thought was going to get me so much further along. What if we could just be in the present moment and see everything that we experience in life as a gift, as and that's, isn't that what life is? Where do we ever live other than right now? How many of you are currently living like in this physical moment somewhere else, like in the past or in the future? You're right here, right now. And you might be thinking, Cliff, no, I'm watching the replay. Well, when are you watching the replay? Right now. All right, I love it. So let's move on. I know I have some more here. Let's do this one. Chasing money won't bring you happiness. Money, while necessary for our survival, should not be the ultimate measure of success or happiness. When we focus too much on accumulating wealth, we lose touch with our inner peace and contentment. Seek happiness in the present moment, in the love and connections that you share with others, and in the pursuit of your passions. And this goes very much in alignment with the last one that we just had. Find the joy in the pursuit of what you love. And the other thing is find your happiness and your feelings of success not in the achievement of goals and not in the amount of money that's coming in consistently into your business. But what if you could actually just feel that success comes from the fact that, number one, and happiness, success and happiness. What if it was for me to feel success, for me to feel happiness, for me to feel joy? I just need to be filled with gratitude for the fact that, number one, I'm alive today. Number two, that my heart beats without me remembering to tell it to do so. For the fact that when I breathe, there seemingly is this amazing abundance of oxygen that actually comes in through into my body, fills my lungs, and oxygenates my blood, and then pumps that oxygen to every cell within my body, and all of that is happening for me. What if all it took to wake up in the morning and realize, wow, the earth is still the precisely correct distance from the sun that kept me from burning to death or freezing to death overnight. There is so many things going right in my life. And also, if you can come to a place where you understand, and I'm not suggesting that you have to, but for me, when I realized that I'm not even this body, I'm not even this mind, I'm not even this persona, that the real true essence of who I am, even that is not dependent upon the proper operation of this physical vehicle that my soul is driving around on this planet right now. All right, fun stuff. Next one, here's another one. The hidden truth about work-life balance that everyone ignores. Balance is essential for living a fulfilling life. Yet, when it comes to work-life balance, we often prioritize our careers over personal well-being. Now, I'll come back to the remainder of this slide in just a moment. But the other thing that I notice is that I have definitely done this a majority of my life, where I'm like, but you don't understand. I can't provide for my family if I don't earn enough money. And right now, I don't have enough money. So I have to actually give more prioritization to my work and generating income over working out at the gym or sitting down in meditation and journaling and reading for personal and professional or spiritual development. These self-care practices and spending time with friends and loved ones and all this stuff, I know that's important. But really, the biggest way for me to show up and show how much I love people is to dive deep into my work and go all in there so that because once I get to this financial level, then I will do these things. Well, I can tell you right now, there is not a financial level that you can do, that you will do those things if you can't find them doing them yourself, doing them at the current level. Now, there are many people who are able to do this, and they're going through the biggest financial struggles of their life. You could potentially be losing your home, losing your car, just almost homeless, if not even homeless, but still find time to find peace, love, and joy within, and have self-care practices, and still love your family. I know this sounds crazy, but I could tell you stories of people. But the thing is those people tend to bounce back. They find a way forward. Things tend to always work out, and they come back better and stronger than previously what was going on in their life, and oftentimes with more margin and more balance. But on the opposite side of things, the people who, let's just say, well, Cliff, here's the situation. I'm making more money now than I've ever made before, but because of that, our family has grown and our cost of living has grown. We moved into a bigger house. Now we have 2 car payments, and also we're saving for college for this, and we've got these big expenses coming up, and quite frankly, I've committed myself to a lot of financial output, and my business was going so incredibly well for the last 5 to 10 years. And now it's like, wow, we're down like 40, 50, or 60% from this time last year. And I am freaked out. I'm filled with anxiety. I'm filled with worry. And they said, can you help me? And I'm like, I would love to help you. Let's work together. And I do work with them. And in the initial stages, it never fails. Well, it almost never fails. People argue with me. They said, Cliff, what's the first step? Well, the first step is to begin a great self-care routine. Whatever that looks like for you, let's talk about it. How you doing on working out? Do you ever sit and do you have a faith background that's important to you? Do you pray? Do you meditate? Do you journal? Do you take time to read? Do you take time to relax? Do you have time with your wife and or your kids if you have them, or your husband? Do you have recreation? Do you have hobbies? All of these things I would encourage you to start with. Cliff, you have no idea. There is no way I have time for that. Well, here's what I will say. Ultimately, is what they come to the conclusion is like, wow, I remember telling you I don't have time for that, but now I realize I did not have time. Anyway, they realized they needed to they had to make time for it. Not having time for it was causing the problem in the first place. And it's amazing what happens when you can step back. And it's actually, there's this thing called the theory of constraint. When you actually reduce the number of hours that you have to work, but you still have the same requirement of the financial output that needs to go out, well, you start thinking creatively. Here's what I will tell you. If you're the type of person who is committed to living up to all of your financial obligations and commitments, and you are never late on a single payment, that's just a part of your identity, that's your standard of living. Well, I will tell you this. Let's just say you need $15,000 a month of income in your business to be able to meet all of your financial commitments. So if you need $15,000 a month, I can promise you this. If you are that type of person and you give yourself 90 hours a week in your business to come up with that $15,000 every month, you're very likely, it's almost certain that you will find a way to work 90 hours a week and end up at the end of the month with your $15,000. every month consistently. Some months maybe a little bit more, some a little bit less, but the average will all work out. An average of 90 hours equals an average of $15,000 a month. But if you had constrained yourself to 30 hours a week and you were still committed to the 15,000, let's just say some things happen in your life, your child needs some emergency medical care, there's some other things going on, and just the realistically there are other things that have come up, there are obvious needs, and now you can only put 30 hours a week in your business, but you're still the person who's committed to living up to your financial commitments, and you're still the person who is going to find a way to make that happen, and now you only have 30 hours to do it. Guess what? You're almost certain to come up with $15,000 every month on average, with an average of 30 hours a week. So what's the difference? Now, chances are you're going to do things, you're going to take different actions and all these other things, but it all comes down to, do you really have the balance in life? I've discovered this principle over and over again. I've had to relearn it multiple times. But today, I work probably 1/4 the number of hours that I've ever worked before, and I probably make 4 times the amount of money that I've ever made before. And that's because I have learned this principle over and over and over again. In fact, I adopted a new affirmation, a new belief that the more I rest or the more I relax, the more I receive. How about that one for you? The more I rest, the more I relax, the more I receive. And I will tell you that this whole thing of going inside, finding that peace, that love, that joy, releasing myself from all the beliefs and the thoughts that produce fear, worry, anxiety, and just going inside, I tap into this thing called intuition. And I consider it to be divine guidance. I consider it to be God leading me and guiding me to a better path, a path of least resistance to create the things that I feel called to create in this world. He said, if you will come to me, seek first this within yourself. Seek first this. Seek me. Seek this first. And all of these things will be given to you. My burden is light. My yoke is easy. Travel with me. I will lead you beside still waters. Anyway, that's what I'm going to share today. I'm going to wrap it there. I have a couple more slides, but yeah, I think that's going to do it. Thank you so much for tuning in. I want to let you know this live stream is brought to you by me, Cliff Ravenscraft. If you have resonated with anything that I share here, I want to tell you about 2 different products and or services that I offer that might be of interest to you. First and foremost, if you're a business owner, you already have customers, a product or service, you're already consistently bringing new clients in, whether you're in the early stages of your business and you're trying to get it to a sustainable level, but hey, you're doing pretty well, but boy, it could be a lot better. That's early stages or mid stages entrepreneurship. Or if you're a seasoned entrepreneur and you have a track record of several years of profitability in your business, and your current challenges are maintaining your current levels of success, and also while at the same time trying to scale your level of success and what you're able to achieve, especially given the changing landscape of what's going on in the world today. If this is you, I would like to invite you to participate in my next level mastermind. Now, let me see here. I think I might have a banner that has the URL. So I'll put it right there, nextlevelmastermind.info, not .com, nextlevelmastermind.info. This is for business owners, full-time, self-employed, on the entrepreneurial path, already have customers, already have income coming in. You either need to get it to a sustainable level or you need to maintain your current level of success, and you also want to take it to the next level. We've been doing this group since November 2017. We meet every single week. It is an opportunity for you to benefit from the education, the experience, the areas of expertise, the skills, talents, and abilities of all of these other full-time self-employed business owners just like you who understand the risks that you take every day, the decisions that you make. Imagine getting feedback from people who know what it is that you're actually talking about. This is the Next Level Mastermind. Head over to nextlevelmastermind.info. And then the next one I'm going to actually have to type in here. So give me just a second. I'm going to put Next Level Workshop.info. This is one of those places where I should probably wear my glasses. But let me go ahead and add this banner and then show this. Let's see. Does that say nextlevelworkshop.info? This right here is for those of you who, well, first of all, let's just say it's for somebody who wants to start an online business, who has a desire to create a side, not side hustle, but a side income, some additional revenue, something to supplement what you're doing in your day job. Or maybe you want to become full-time self-employed. Or if you're somebody who is an early stage or mid-stage entrepreneur and you're looking to figure out how to get to that level of sustainability, or if you're a seasoned entrepreneur but you're really struggling to maintain your current level of success, I have a workshop. It's called Building an Online Business Workshop. I've hosted this multiple times here in my Next Level studio in person, but I'm now hosting it for the first time ever as an online workshop, a full one-day workshop coming up on Friday, July 28th. It's all day long. We'll start at 9 a.m. We'll be finished by 9 p.m. Eastern time. But here's the situation. It's just going to be a couple of sessions throughout the day, so different start times. There'll be plenty of time for rest and restoration and lunch and meal breaks, all be throughout the day. So it's not like you're going to be on Zoom all day long. But there'll be several sessions throughout the day. And in one day, I'm going to teach you all of the things that I have in this workshop. An 11-step formula, step by step, teaching you what order you might want to consider to build a responsible, profitable online business, doing what you feel most called to do in this world. There'll be a session on marketing strategies to attract your exact ideal customer. There'll be some techniques that you need to know about mailing list and marketing via an email list and why most people fail to build or grow their businesses because they haven't fully implemented just a few simple strategies that are not too difficult to figure out. And once you figure them out, it's like, oh my gosh, this changes everything. Here's what I will say. Whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur, a early to mid-stage entrepreneur, or a seasoned entrepreneur, there's no doubt in my mind this is a $1,000 workshop. By the way, if you can't make it to any or all of the sessions, you can just get all of the replays. They'll be available within the next week. And every single session will be there for you. I guarantee you, that just for your $1,000 investment, the return on investment, just one insight, if you're a seasoned entrepreneur, could spark a whole new stream of income that you hadn't considered before. Or just one insight, a new technique, a new way of doing something in your mailing list. That alone could generate an extra $10, $15, $30, $40, $50, $100,000 for you. And for those of you who are at the very beginning of this, we could help you avoid what most people do when starting an online business, which is actually investing tens of thousands of dollars, and in some cases, hundreds of thousands of dollars to build a business that never reaches profitability because you skipped some of the most important foundational steps in the beginning. So head over to nextlevelworkshop.info. Again, if anything that I am doing or saying here on the internet resonates with you, I encourage you to check out one of these. Again, that's nextlevelworkshop.info, and not that one, but there you go, nextlevelmastermind.info. Until next time, my friends, I encourage you to take everything you do to the next level.